ready?
I'm so ready.
You straight on your end? What?
Yeah, we good. We good money over here.
All right. I guess we'll let people start to come in. Thank you guys for coming to our verses.
Versus, we were inspired by that Ron Isley and Elements throwdown that we
Yeah,
decided to create a whole series on verses and what is going to be our first verse of the season.
convenience versus consistency.
Convenience versus consistency. Tell the world how we got to this one. Why were you pondering over these two titans of seas?
Well, a couple of years ago, I posted on Facebook. There's a difference between convenience and consistency, and do you know the difference?
Mm.
And that
How
was
did that go?
people said that they knew the difference, but I feel that a lot of people feel in relationships it's a convenience and they don't stay consistent.
Mm. How do we get there? Let's talk about how we get there today. So, guys, if you guys are listening on Facebook Live, if you're checking us out on the YouTube channel, we definitely want you to be able to chime in.
Yes.
We got your comments here. We can see them. Tasha's gonna put them up, and with her little magical thing she does, bloop 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 bloop, she's gonna put them up so that we can see them. And we need you guys to chime in. Let us know what you're thinking out there, what you're feeling. These verses are going to work because we want to hear from you guys. You know what I'm saying? We want to know what you're thinking. So if you're out there live and you're listening, we're talking about consistency versus what was the other ones? Consistency versus what?
Convenience.
Convenience. And we ain't talking about no 7-Eleven. All right. We ain't talking about no 7-Eleven. So let's go there. You know, we
I mean,
you put it out there.
I do want our audience to know, because you're the one who shut it down. So I have to announce that we will no longer be showing our actual episodes live anymore. So that's another reason why we came up with these verses.
You don't keep making me seem like the bad guy. Like this was sound logic that I gave you. Okay.
Yes, and it was a joint
Yes.
decision, but I feel like, I tried, you guys. I really enjoy sharing with you guys, but it's true. And in order to keep you guys going and to listen to the episodes, because I realized that you all are like 2 weeks up on episodes, because I was having a conversation, and chemistry is going to be coming out on Sunday. And I was mentioning chemistry. I didn't hear that one. I said, I know you didn't hear it, because we didn't record.
Hey.
We didn't record.
People keep asking me, I'm looking for this particular episode. I'm like, you saw it on Facebook first? I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So I'm noticing that, Facebook and YouTube, I have spoiled you guys. And you all are like, were a week to 2 weeks up on episodes. And it's not fair to the listeners. So
we are, listen, I know you guys are getting all this luscious eye candy, right? Right. But we are audio podcasts, right? And so we want to be able to have you guys tune in and listen to us, but we give you the visual. We give you the visual part so you can see what brings these words through your box and through your speakers. But we want to make sure that we're not taking away from each other. So we're going to offer these verses and these lives to you in our Facebook Live format, on our YouTube Live. These will be serving as bonus episodes.
Yes.
So that you can only see them. You won't hear them on the audio. You will only see them if you come to the YouTube page, or you like, subscribe to the YouTube page, or you checking us out on the Facebook Live, which is some of y'all just lazy. Y'all just y'all live on Facebook. Y'all lazy. Y'all just want to look at it on Facebook and call it a day. I don't have time to listen to a podcast. Yeah, yeah, you do. You watch the Notebook 8 times. You can listen.
Podcast. Yeah, I saw it on Facebook. I'm like, you didn't listen to it. Like,
you ain't even listen to it. And don't tell me you ain't got no time for no podcast. You watched the Notebook 9 times. You got time. You got time
So
to listen.
everybody that's in the room, can you please give us like a hello? Let us know
If
that
you're
you
here, yeah. I saw this one girl on Instagram. She always asks for thumbs up. Let me get a thumbs up if you're, yeah, if you can hear us.
right. What is the audio right?
But as also, I'm not sitting around and waiting on Negroes. So what's, let's get into this topic. I love y'all, but they won't say nothing until you say something controversial, and then all their opinions will come. So what we getting into? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this versus a little bit because I've had some people tell me they were excited about the topic itself, and I
So
think
do you
everybody can
know the
speak
difference?
to. Do I know the difference?
Yeah, and do you feel it's a difference? Because I told you some people don't believe that it's a difference.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a difference. And I also think, hey Lydia, all right, we got one person there. I think that we have you have a little bit. I think you have both. And I think that they both exist. I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but I know that there is a difference, and then there's congruence. You
Yeah.
know, so where did you come to the where tell me how you came to the whole thing about there is a difference, or the fact that you needed to wake motherfuckers up to make them realize that there was a difference and that they didn't know it.
So the crazy thing about it, I didn't even realize that when we discussed me being a hobosexual or a
Homeless, we say
homeless,
homeless sexual now. Yes.
homosexual, when we realized that I had that before and that I was a victim of being one, that that situation, it was a convenience.
Mm.
And that because it was so convenient, he felt like he didn't have to do anything to catch my attention. Like he
So,
just felt like, well, I'm here. We're in the same space. I'm here. Why do I have to take you out? Why do we have to do things together? What's the purpose of it? Because I love you and you love me. So why I just like being in the house. Why can't we just chill in the house?
so in that sense, you felt like the consistency went away for the
Because when
convenience.
he first tried to pursue me in the beginning, even though it was a space from when we started going out, he was always like trying to go out. We used to play flag football together. I basically told who it was, but he like even after football, we will always go do stuff. And then when it was the second time around of us talking, I guess he felt like I don't have to woo you anymore. So
I mean,
I
so
wasn't. What's the problem?
it's a lot of things to unpack there. All right. So first, this was by the time you felt this way, this was the second iteration of y'all's thing, right?
It was us trying again for the second time.
So a lot of times we mistake that in our comeback. This is why you're not really supposed. This is why they tell you don't go back to your ex, because you kind of pick up where you left off and you never address
But
the issue that caused the breakup the first time. You kind of just pick back up in your old habits. That's the biggest convenience thing. And there's another C that we have to use in congruent with convenience, which is comfort,
okay, that is
right?
right there.
Convenience comes from our ability to get comfortable, how fast we get comfortable. That makes things hella convenient, right? Now, consistency can take a hit on that, but we also, one of the things that I have to understand is you have to unpack what caused the consistency to die, because it just wasn't being convenience,
No,
because you got to understand there was a level of convenience from you, right? The convenience that he felt in that situation was you'd already kind of built this. We didn't. All right, first of all, we got back together. We didn't address our issues,
and
right?
that's what it was. It was
We picked right back up, and at this point, I know who you are. We're being comfortable together. You're not pushing me to these things. You're not talking to me about what you feel is missing or lacking or what you would like to do. I think we again, we always shy away from these conversations we need to have because we're so worried about what the outcome is. But if it's something that's affecting you and it's going to make resentment grow in your relationship, then you got to have it. You got to say it like, hey, look, man, you used to take me out. What the fuck is up? Like, I don't want to sit in this house all day. And you got to be okay with saying that. And your partner needs to be okay with hearing that. And they got to show you, they got to exhibit that changed behavior, right?
Because he felt like us going to the store was us going out.
Well, men and women have different ideas of quality time.
Home Depot is not quality time to me. I'm sorry.
Until you're that, because you're not that girl that feels that she wants to go everywhere her man is. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like those people exist. You have to ask how many of them he was around before he got to you. You got some people, if I say I'm busy, well, I just want to be with you. So I'll run errands with you just because I want to be around you. Right? If that's been our tragic story, when we get a person like you who don't think that's good enough, how we know if you don't say nothing?
I mean, it wasn't that it wasn't good enough. It was, again, we were, how we ended up dating, I guess, the first time is that we started playing flag football together.
Right.
So because we did this activity together consistently, consistency.
Right.
And it was a weekly thing. So it was like we started playing
football. Schedule.
It was a schedule. And then even after football, we still started like going places. We would do things. He would see some festivals. He'd be like, hey, let's go. And again, we stopped talking. And then when we started talking again,
you gave the milk away for free. You gave the milk away for free. You didn't make him work for it. What was the reason y'all got back together?
He was a rebound, but technically wasn't the rebound.
And nigga, own it, Jada Pinkett. Get the red table, own it. Okay,
and he knew it. He knew that he was the rebound.
Ooh, Steven, stop it. You sound bitter.
No, I ain't want no money spent on me out.
No. Look, I mean, but here's the thing. I would say this. For some men, the way men have to perceive the different women that come in and out of their life, like none of you guys are two alike, right? And a lot of times we tend to get the same type of woman over and over. So when we get the different woman, we carry a lot of baggage over into that and assume a lot of things. And that might be speaking to more of his experience. So no, she didn't need the money spent on her.
I spent over $300
but there was
a motorcycle kit for his birthday. So
but she has acknowledged that, again, that she played a part in some of the comfort. Because again, we like we're saying, you gave the milk away for free. When you came back, you didn't really make him earn his spot back.
No,
you allowed it to pick right back up where it left off. You did.
Yes, no.
How do you come back and you don't address anything that what caused y'all to split?
He had we were looking at everything totally different. I know, even with the same reason why we stopped talking the second time. We were that whole dating with a purpose. I was dating into a relationship where he was just
dating a date,
and he was dating me and everybody else.
He was a rebound anyway.
And so, no, I'm talking about the first time. So when I realized that we weren't in a relationship, so what happened was, so he's the rebound and he's not the rebound, because when we started dating and months ago past and everything is fine, like it was good. And then I had a conversation with him about, I just so happened to say, yeah, like the relationship we're in. And he's like, hold on. Like, we're just dating. And I was like, oh, we're dating. So I started dating. So when I started dating, that's when I had met my ex. And at that time, I knew that the guy who I was talking to, I knew he was talking to other people. So then you had my ex that was, yes, spending more time with me. And I was like, bump it. He doesn't want something. I'm just going to keep going this way, which I was completely wrong. I know I was. I always say I'm wrong about it.
I mean, okay.
So then
not here to penalize you.
I spent, 2 to 3 years with my ex, and then when I seen that, like, I made the mistake, I slowly eased myself back over, like, hey, let us be friends again. And I like completely blocked him and everything. So yes, I swindled my way back into the situation.
All right, so then you realize that the first and the second reason for the split were damn near similar, right?
Yes.
And so it would behoove you to address the first one when you came back, rebound or not. In all your conversations, did either one of y'all have a conversation about love language?
No. And when we discussed the issue, he still did not. That was the thing about it that pissed me off, is that he still denied talking to other people. That's why I did the whole pop-up thing, because it was like, here it is. And yes, I was wrong coming back into it, but I did try to make it work. But here it is. You're consistently lying, saying that, like, no,
they say he wasn't consistent.
I mean, me.
you said he lost the consistency. He kept consistency somewhere. It's just not the one you wanted. Like, I mean, just see it. Be honest.
That doesn't count.
No, you don't get to choose what the consistency is. There's a yin and a yang to everything. And the consistency that you wanted wasn't the consistency you was actually getting, but you was getting some consistency here.
Stop it.
I'm just saying.
But no,
I'm gonna let you process that for a little bit.
He wasn't being faithful, and I kept like pressing it, like, hey, if this is not what you want, say it. Don't try to like say I'm the one you want when I know you're talking to other people.
But why? Why give him the ability to make a choice he can't do?
Because
he knew
it. Said he wanted it.
But could you think your convenience allow you to just say that's okay? That was enough?
No.
Why not?
Because it wasn't.
But you allowed it to be.
I did.
You allowed it to be enough. You didn't stand up for yourself. You didn't stand in what you want. You didn't stand up for what you wanted. You didn't directly tell him some of the reasons why you left the first time. Your convenience caused you to come back the second time, and you didn't want to rock the boat neither. No. So now you've just absolved him. Seriously, I know you don't want to hear it. You just absolved of him any type of consistency, because now y'all just in y'all routine. Picked right back up where you left off.
That's true.
If you want to keep the fire alive, then it blows my mind when the other gender sits here and refuse to keep a couple of rocks in their hands to spark the flame themselves. It's like we have to go out. We have to find the fire. We have to keep the fire going. We have to constantly put kettle wood on a fire.
No, I tried.
Well, sometimes it just requires a little of your oxygen.
I tried.
How much?
I did try.
Was it? Oh.
No, I tried. It was, even when like I mean, birthday don't count, but it's still kind of like it does and it doesn't. But like, even for his birthday, like we could have just went somewhere in the area, and I was like, no, let's like really do something. Like, let's get dressed up. Let's go somewhere. Like, let's do something. And I did press the fact of like me coming up with the ideas of us doing things, but to him, it was just, no, I got this going on. It was a whole bunch of BS.
So I would say this: when you took initiative and you tried to because I it sounds like it was just a convenience for both of you. You right, Lydia?
Yeah, it really was. Yeah,
It really was. Yeah.
it definitely was. Because
But
I
let
mean,
me ask you something. When there was times when you had to feel like you was putting on the shoes for y'all, and y'all was you was was he telling you no? Because see, some guys just don't know. Like if you got like I'll be real. If you good with all the plan. I'll be there. I won't say no. I'll go. I'll do it. You want to go run, jump out of a plane, and you feel like you got to plan it to make it happen? Please plan it. There are going to be some things I might have an epiphany about. But if I suck at it and we're in a relationship, I am going to lean on you for you to do that, because just like you're going to lean on me for something you're not good at. And except for it just seems like in relationships sometimes a man will get dinged because he doesn't have that. And so it goes back to what we talked about, like men don't know how to date. They don't really know how to date you, but the least they can do is be open to the things you want to expose them to. And then that will help them create and curate their own experiences for you as they learn you more.
so let me put this out there. He does know how to date. I will put that out there. Um, when I came up with ideas, he would say okay, but then when the day came, it'd be like, "Oh, I'm tired," or "Oh, I forgot." Some BS.
Mm.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what?
what I said at the point when, and that was during the time that I started going to therapy, and that's when I realized like I have to, and this is one of those I settled because I felt like for some reason somehow I felt like I didn't give it a chance in the beginning.
Mm.
So because I was allotted that second chance, I kind of dealt with a little bit more than what I wouldn't deal with, because it's like, okay, I understand where your anger is coming from, because he would say that like, I feel like you're gonna leave again.
Mm. If you got a guy telling you that his fear of you walking out, I know sometimes people look at it as like some toxic emotional manipulation. But what most women don't realize, and I won't use the word women, most people of the opposite gender don't realize is that if a man is telling you that his fear is you walking out of his life, all of his actions towards you is to protect himself from the day that he's fearing. And most people don't realize that. The things that we manifest in our mind do come out in our actions. So so for me, if I'm already guarded and I fear you're going to walk out of my life, and maybe I got abandonment issues that I'm not aware of, everything I'm doing is going to protect myself because I'm just counting down for the day you're going to do it.
No, I definitely, with you saying that, I agree. Now looking at the situations and a lot of stuff, because when he felt like he was getting too close, he would just go
Shut
on
down.
like, I gotta go. I'll leave, or
Mm.
can you leave? Like, can we like end this date? Or if I'm over his house and he feels like he was getting too close, or if he was at my house, it'd be like, all right, I gotta go. And he said it. He was like, I think I mentioned it before. He was like, I don't like these emotions coming out. So he would pull back all the time.
Mm. That's the setup. Lydia, you got to break that down for us. What's the setup?
Yes, Lydia, please break it down.
Please break that one down. All right. So then,
But again,
that was.
he was still full of BS. So let's not give him the benefit of the doubt
I'm like, no. We're not saying necessarily give the
But
benefit of the doubt, but I'm always going to give you another perspective that I feel like in these interactions, um, I think the opposite gender thinks we're so monolithic that they don't think that there are a lot of factors there that influence the way we perceive and the way we move and act. I think that we are been so accused and used to being labeled as void of emotion that they don't understand that men make a lot of emotional decisions. They just don't seem emotional because they're not what you guys view emotion looks like. You know what I mean? We can just go back and say that relationship right there, that was convenience on both sides.
It was the convenience on both sides.
And that killed the consistency you wanted, but it didn't stop you from getting consistency. That's unfortunate.
Don't do that.
Unfortunate.
It's
unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It is. Seriously.
Don't do
listen, I've done things out of convenience. One foot in, another on a banana peel. Yes, you have to say what you want. Yeah. I mean, have the conversation. If it doesn't pan out, walk away. People are so scared to walk away from somebody, or so I don't even know if it's fear. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, if you're not meshing, if you aren't on the same page about what you agree to, then you got to walk away. If you don't walk away, you have now set up convenience in your life. You really have. You have started the steps to Convenientville.
I definitely agree with you saying that, because it was a point where I had a breakdown. Like, I had a real breakdown. And again, that's when, after I had that breakdown, that's when I was like, I need therapy. I really do.
This is going to lead to another topic, and it's because I saw it last night, and I was hitting you up about that shit, because we're going to have to talk about this whole concept of settling and shit.
Settling, we do it. And we can't talk, Dad, we can't talk about it. So again,
can't talk about it right now.
Can't talk about
people. It's coming. I am upset. I saw this thing last night. I am upset. So anyway, we get back to that. So So then consistency. What has been the most consistent that you've what's the most in terms of positive consistency that you think you've received in your dealings with our gender? What has been your one light of positivity in what you felt like was where you experienced the kind of consistency you wanted?
I would have to say now, really.
Shout out to my man out here being consistent, Mr. C out here. What is it that you feel what's the consistency? Like, what are you getting that makes you feel like you're getting it? What are you getting? What is it? Break it down to us.
For me, it's the support. Especially a lot of my downs. I have somebody that's supportive. I have somebody that's not quick to just be like, I'm done. But I haven't had those moments, because I tend to. I have moments, and I always say that, and people don't understand. Like, when you lose a parent, like, for some of you guys who don't know, because I'm looking at Stephen and Lydia are two new people that I don't know that I've shared. So at 16, I lost my mom, and before that, 2 years before that, my stepfather passed away. And so for me, having people leave, and that support, and those were the two most supportive people that were in my life. And after my mom passed away, life kind of got crazy. So I have my moments where I get down. I have those moments where I just don't want to be bothered and stuff like that. And I will say that he has helped me get out of those moments. And he's, like I said, a great friend. We talk. I'm very open. So it's the support aspect that I've never really got in other relationships that I'm getting.
So how about this? How about a time where you might have felt like you weren't getting consistency, but maybe outside of the first one we talked about, like where you didn't think you were getting consistent. Because here's another thing about consistency. A man can consistently tell you where he is, what he's thinking, how he's feeling, and you conveniently ignore it. Has that ever happened?
That's happened. So if we want to talk about somebody that was consistent before this situation, as much as I don't want to get into that one, because that was the situation where I was dating someone. Remember, I told you for 2 years, he was very consistent. Like outside of he was really consistent. But then I felt like I had to put my little hand in the middle of it and like try to pressure the relationship. And so since I didn't get the title, that's when I pushed back. But that actual relationship, even like us dating, it was perfect.
Okay. So then for those out here listening, tell them how they can tell the difference. Because you said this all came from saying, hey, there's a difference, and can you tell? So break it down for them. How can one could tell the difference? What is the difference, and how can they tell the difference? And what are maybe some reasons why they can't tell the difference?
As far as convenience, for me, this is my opinion and not,
we are not experts. We just niggas in here talking shit. We just talking shit. We're not experts.
Yeah.
You're not coming here for statistical facts.
Right? We want some facts.
It's feelings, nigga. We talking feelings out here. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
Based off of what I know, convenience is just like being there. Like, I mean, you can still be consistent and just spend time and not really, it's not about consistency, is not about going out. So let's put it out there. Consistency is not about always going out somewhere. Being convenient, when you're like in that convenient stage where it's just like, I'm here to be here. And
that requires a little honesty from both parts though, right?
It does require honesty, but nobody's going to be honest about it. But in your head that
you know why I'm here.
There's no real feelings at this point. We're just trying to make it work because either we've been together for so long.
But why is that the hardest to end? Like you sit there and you know that this is not, and you won't walk away. They won't walk away. What the fuck, yo? Like I think we build our own demise sometimes because I'm like, we sit there, we're acknowledging that this is convenient. They gotta be acknowledging it's convenient. One of us has gotta be having it in their mind, like, yo, this gotta be dead. And neither one of us will walk away. Like, what the fuck?
Some people don't like being alone.
But toxic sex is great, you know.
Yeah, if it is good within the situation, but I mean,
or maybe you're homosexual. These are the things that are convenient. Being a homosexual, toxic sex, fear of being alone, time invested. Hey,
and that's when a lot of people don't leave.
That's an excuse.
But
that's an excuse.
That's the excuse I don't.
That's an excuse. All right, ROI. You know, rich people will cut their losses. Listen, the reason Black people would just keep a relationship going to its detriment. White folks, if they ain't getting that return on investment, snip. Sometimes you gotta, if you feel that there's no losses, just lessons, then why keep holding on to something until your ass have to get the loss you don't want, right? Sometimes you gotta walk away so you can understand the lesson better. Don't want to admit the relationship failed. Another excuse. Relationships fail. Some thrive, some fail. So what? There are worse things than a relationship failing. Exactly, Lydia. It's not a good reason to stay. We tell ourselves, listen, I get it. We tell ourselves that, right? We got to make this work. We put all this time in. We got to make this work. Now you're two-stepping in Convenientville. You're running for mayor. You're running for mayor of Convenientville, okay? Because I got to make this work. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you're right. It doesn't make sense at all.
But you know what is
But it's real. But it's honest and it's real, and I get it. I get it. I get it.
it's crazy because I wasn't that person. Like me, I think me 3 months in, if I'm not feeling it, I'm out the door. But then it's like the older I got, it's kind of like, I feel like you need to like give people a chance. And then so that's where I started like really settling and dealing with convenience because it's like, well, let me see if it worked. And then because originally if I didn't see any consistency, I was gone. Like, you got 90 days, I'm out the door. And now I'm like, I'm serious. I think I told you my grandfather was like, if you ain't past 3 months, I don't want to meet the person. But
Facts.
then it was like, okay, now is this what I'm supposed to do? Now I'm in my mid 30s. So am I supposed to settle because I'm supposed to have this relationship that everybody is talking about? You know, I'm not married. Right now I'm about to be 38. So it's like, what? So then that's when I started making dating for convenience.
Dating for convenience. What did that look like?
Boring.
Whoa. Boring in what way? What do you mean?
Because
that should have been the funnest dating right there.
Not.
You stop dating with intention.
I did.
And expectation. So then you had a chance to just really learn yourself, learn people. Every relationship ain't supposed to end, with a marriage. Sometimes a relationship is just to introduce you to new restaurants.
Well, and that was was still even though I was making it convenient in the back of my head, I was still dating with a purpose. But then not purpose because like even with my ex, I knew I wasn't gonna marry my ex. I knew it.
So convenience is a smokescreen.
It was easy. It was somebody with a decent resume, meaning like my ex was in the military, so I knew like I looked at what he was doing and sized him up, and like I did when we talked about the last thing, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, minus the emotional baggage that came along with it.
Right. This next comment is just for you.
Right.
The older you get, when you get to 40, your cutoff game gets Jedi strong. Like you're like the difference between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Not even Return of the Jedi. You're like where Luke was. Like in your 20s and 30s, you're like Luke with the one arm with the hand cut off, and you're just hanging off Cloud Mountain like help Leia. By the time you get in your 40s, your cutoff game is almost like the end of the Mandalorian when Luke showed up to come get Baby Yoda. You remember how he was just ripping through shit like yeah. Yeah, I'm here for the kid. I'm here for the kid. That's how your cutoff game gets when you get in your 40s. Because you've now experienced 2 decades of adulthood. And you have really understood that everything you thought you knew, everything you thought you was so ready for at 18, you ain't. Right?
No, that's true. I will say when 30, that's when it was kind of like, let me do me.
I hate how he blinks. Peace, I'm out.
then when I hit 35, that's when, because technically, I mean, I've been single since 35. That's when I realized like I'm not going into stuff unless I know this is what I want. I'm not going to force myself to deal with it. If the person is not consistent, I'm done. I mean, not even I'm done in that way, but
Here's a real spoiler alert. I hate that it takes the opposite gender so long to get to that mindset. because you're so worried, or you spend a lot of time worrying about a relationship with an individual not for you. That it keeps you from that free thinking right there. It's okay that a person you met doesn't pan out to be who you thought they would. And it's okay to walk smooth the fuck away from that. You don't have to try to put your energy into building a nigga because somebody told you, oh, well, he ain't perfect, but
You can make it work.
like, you can make it work. No, 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 no. Be very honest about who you are and what you want. Be able to be okay with being with yourself until you find it. This is why men get married so late. They have to get to that point in their mind. You guys are so wired to do it in your 20s, you spend 2 decades trying to get it done. While we sitting over here literally maturing like wine. No, seriously. Yo, you gotta let a man's mind mature. It's too much external it's too much external forces out here. If you can't make a sale, make a friend.
Make a friend.
You know, and then she brings a good point. Like, you're so wrapped up into this interaction having to end in the end game that you fail to really make a friend. And some of us need friends of the opposite sex. You need them. You need them for accountability. You need them for perspective. You need them for growth. Like, when did platonic friendships become so taboo because it's the opposite sex?
Jealousy.
Like, man, grow the fuck up. Like, seriously. Like, some of my closest people in my life have been girls. Nothing between us, nothing needed. Just sometimes somebody needs to be able to say, yo, you acting like an asshole, yo. Like, how you think she was gonna take that? That's the most gems a nigga could get. From another woman, how you thought she was gonna take that? And then let me explain to you. And oh man, God, you're right. There's been times I've reached out to homegirls like, yo, did I handle that right? No. Okay. Okay, I get it. Okay, cool. So I think that we again, we the expectations, the way we think, the way we moved, a lot of that builds convenient situations, and we kill consistency ourselves. We take that bitch right out in the backyard and put 2 in his head.
That's true.
My last situation, we broke up. Be true to yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Yep, you attract who you are. My last situation, we had one of our many breakups, and near the end, she wanted to get back, and I almost almost conveniently fell back into it. I mean, but I caught myself.
Mm-hmm.
I called it a pause, and she never understood what I was saying when I said it. I said, we've been down this road 3 or 4 or 5 times in this relationship, and it's so easy for me to fall back in. But literally, something is grabbing me from doing it this time. Something is telling me, like, don't rush back into this. Now, we had talked about all the things that we would have to do before we even get back to a relationship. But as soon as we got back in contact, as soon as the access opened back up, as soon as we started having conversations, those things went out the window. Conveniently went out the window. She conveniently wanted to pick right back up.
Where you started, yeah.
Where we started. And my pause kept that from happening because it had happened. I said, we haven't addressed our issues. We should do this because we need to determine if our issues can keep us together. You don't want to do this until we are together. What's the point? Like, the whole thing was, this was her words. This is her words. For us to get back together, we have to go to therapy. All right, let's go to therapy. Let's go to therapy. Now we're talking about getting back together. And we don't go to therapy unless we're together. No, we need therapy before we get back to figure out if this is even what we're doing.
Worth being. Yeah.
Right. Well, why would we go to therapy if we're not together? That's not how none of this works. We are separated right now. We're not together. Therapy is going to see if this is what we need to do instead of jumping into it just for have therapy tear holes in our shit anyway. Right? And that would cause my pause because she was so ready to be back in convenience again. Right? But the non-consistency in our lives was what she was complaining about. Right? Because we was both in routines. It wasn't just me. We were both in routines.
And that's where convenience comes in, is the routine. The routine of things.
But you know why? Because the routine is so what? Comfortable. So you got to throw that other C in there too.
That word comfort, yes.
You got to have that word in there too. When you're talking about convenience and you're talking about consistency, that thin line, it's all about comfort. And that's comfort is what allows you to give the milk away for free. You think the man in your life doesn't want a challenge to win you or earn your love or earn all these things that you're going to do for him. And you'll tell yourself, well, this is me. This is how I love. Well, yeah, that's the lottery. The lottery is how it is. You still have to hit the right numbers to get the money. So if you allow yourself to say, well, if that's the way I love, fine. But don't unlock that love until he earns it.
So, okay, so then with you saying that, right? If we go back to the whole chemistry thing and just letting it go and letting it flow, how do those two things balance?
Because being able to what a friend of mine likes to call ebb it flows, to have that, right? You do have to take the expectation out of it. But just because you take the expectation out of it, it doesn't mean that when you realize it's not serving you, that you don't walk smooth the fuck away from it. You do. You can be in ebb it flows, but if it's no longer serving your purpose, you walk smooth the fuck away from it. But if your only sole purpose is to pull a relationship out of this interaction, you've already limited to where it can go. So as soon as it's not going that way, you definitely need to cut. But if you don't cut, now you've said fuck ebb it flows, and now you have low key put an expectation back on it out of convenience.
Okay.
And that'll allow you to sit there and get comfortable. Comfort and complacency are hand in hand, Jules, a little bit. Because, once you lose that forward momentum, that drive to always be better, like Lydia said, you gotta want to be better every day. You gotta want to grow. You always want to be better than you were the day before. And a lot of us are not there mentally. We're not there at growing, because to grow, that means you have to deal with your shit. And a lot of us don't want to deal with our shit. Right? You said something in another episode about, maturity and shit. Getting old is mandatory. Growing up is optional. You can't help but get old. You decide when you want to fucking grow up.
Those are facts.
You know what I mean?
So with this, we touch base on the convenience and the comfort of the convenience. How do we know, or how do we become consistent? I know for me, I feel like consistency only works is if you, and not only like this, but
accountability,
and also knowing someone's love language also, because you can try to be consistent and it may not work for them. Like things that you do that you're thinking that you're doing is consistent, but it comes with that communication.
Well, that too. So you have to have communication. You have to have accountability. And there was another one I'm thinking. You have a communication. Oh, honesty. You
You
have
do, to
honesty.
be honest.
And you have to be confident in who you are and what you want. A lot of people, like I said, we talk about broken people a lot, and they don't nothing attract to each other than worse than two broken
Two
people,
broken people.
right? It creates codependency. And that's where a lot of convenience and comfort lays in codependency. You said it yourself. Yeah, I don't want to be alone, right? I don't want to be by myself, right? Um, and that's a hard thing to fight, especially if that's been your whole life. You know, I cringe at people who jump from one relationship to the next, or when they say I'm a relationship person.
I feel like I try to stay out of them.
I thrive better in relationships.
And I
Whoa,
avoid them.
nigga, if that ain't the codependent statement of the year. I'm way better in relationships. Okay, so what happens when you don't got
Right? My therapist said I'm a runner.
Oh. When you get caught in the school zone, run.
Yes, my therapist was like, "You're a runner." Thanks.
I mean, we all got some running in us. We call it no tolerance. Serial monogamous, yeah. We call it no tolerance though. We call it all types of things. Sometimes you can end something by addressing it, ending it, and it's not running. We only run when we don't discuss why we're ending this. And you know, with this whole boundaries and protecting our energy shit, it has allowed us to ghost people.
I don't
Right?
ghost. I mean, I don't. My breakups are pretty.
I'm 50-50 on ghosting. I'll be honest, I'm 50-50 on ghosting.
I feel
But
like
here's the thing.
we need to touch it. I know me and Earl touched on ghosting, but I have my thing about ghosting.
I have my thing about it, but I also I'm a Libra. I see both sides, right? I see both sides of the ghosting thing. I think some people are just too toxic, and you have to just cold turkey those folks.
running ghosting.
But I think that some you hate what you are. You hate what you are. You hate what you are. But I also believe that sometimes even if I feel like if if I ghost, there's still going to be a conversation with you and I down the road. I think that's important. That needs to happen because I want you to understand why I ghosted. Because for me, whenever I ghost, it's immediate, right?
Okay.
Like I need to get out of that space. You're about to trigger the fuck out of me. And sometimes ghosting is not just some long-term thing. You can ghost right there in the moment. You just go completely elsewhere. Just completely tune the fuck out. But I think that in the situation of ghosting to end something, I think there's some parts where it is, but I think there's some times where you're like, yo, you need to let somebody know that this is not serving you no more. Why it's not serving you no more, and then that you're choosing to move on. And I, like I said, I'm 50-50 on that, on the ghosting. But sometimes that conversation needs to happen. And when you do that, that's not necessarily running away.
No, because I find something before I run. I will sabotage the mess out of it.
Oh, you're a self-sabotager.
Self-sabotage.
Self-saboteur. You are a self-saboteur.
Every breakup has been a sabotage, basically.
I can just see you somewhere in a corner with an IED, like, dun, 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 dun.
I will find something. Like,
who put the goddamn who left breadcrumbs on the goddamn butter? Who broke the goddamn toaster? You know, I get it. But I mean, why? Well, that's a whole nother thing to unpack. self-sabotaging.
Oh yeah, we definitely gonna have to. Yeah,
We can get into
that's
that later.
been majority of my relationships though. I would. That's why she called me a runner, because I would find a way to get out.
Where do you think that come from? Honestly, just real quick. Where do you think that comes from?
And it comes from that, with people. I told you before, with both my parents passing away, with people leaving unexpectedly. So it's like, when I felt like I was getting too close to somebody, I didn't want them to leave or find any reasons where they would leave me. So it'd be like, let me just leave and make it easier so I don't get hurt.
I received that. And I received that because I understand where they're coming from. Now, mine wasn't really surrounded by tragic loss, but it all depends on what you perceive as tragic loss. For me, the only consistent woman in my life has been my mother. Now
And
I cannot,
my
I
mom
can't,
was consistent.
I can't hold people to my mother's standard because that's unconditional love. I'm her child. I'm of her flesh. She has to love me regardless,
Yeah.
right? So I can't hold women to that. But the flip side of that, the abandonment issues I used to have was because I know who my father is. I look like this nigga. I look in the mirror, I see his face. This big ass bell pepper nose, that's his. Right? He's been in my life. I know who he is. He's not no distant father. But you would have thought I was a bastard child the way that my relationship with him has been in my life. Like he's and here's the worst part. If he was just a Negro you knew, he'd probably be one of the coolest motherfuckers you'd want to hang out with.
That's
But when it came to that parenthood shit, when it came to fathering, he fucking failed big time. And so, oh God, this gets real deep. So my abandonment issues is with the fact that I have a father in my life that's not in my life, right? Or wasn't in my life, right? And the only consistent person in my life is my mother. But because of the way she raised me, I know that I can't put expectations on a woman. I can't expect my mother to be at my games because she has to work 2 fucking jobs. I can't expect my mother to be like a normal mom who isn't raising a whole boy by himself and trying to keep him out of shit and make sure he graduate, keep him out of jail, keep him by getting shot by racist white state troopers, doing all these things while she has to work and do this from a distance. So I can't grow up understanding the need to put expectations on women, right? So I can't hold on to you, but I'm scared you're going to walk away. You hear that kind of bullshit? That's crazy, right? I can't hold on to you. I can't allow myself to hold on to you. Because in my mind, anybody who wants to walk away, anybody that doesn't want to be involved is going to be involved. So why hold on to you? Why hold on to you? I can't put that expectation on you to be in my life like I need you to be. So I'm fearing the day you're going to walk out, and I'm moving, waiting for the day for you to walk out. And God damn it, who would have guessed I choose women in my life who validate that fear by walking out when they're not getting what they want.
Yeah.
Do you know how much shit I had to unpack in therapy when I finally went in my 30s? Oh my God.
No,
shout out to my doc. Yo, them billable hours, yo.
That's the same with me. Like, knowing that, my mom, just watching her, especially when she was sick, and how bad she wanted a relationship again, because she was married, and then, my stepfather died. So watching her go through the process of dating and getting to know people, and just me seeing that bad side of dating. That's why I'm like, I don't want to go through. Let me just make it easy. I'm out.
And she make up a point, picking people are emotionally available.
Yep. And
Uh
I
I
did.
definitely wasn't emotionally available. My title in college was Mr. Right Now. Mr. Right Now? Not Mr. Right, Mr. Right Now. You want to have a good time? We can do that. You trying to lock me down? I'm not here. I'm not here for it. And the large part was all the armor that I was wearing was because I didn't want people to walk out on the real me. Right? But I couldn't hold you. Couldn't hold you.
Nope, no opportunity for heartbreak.
No opportunity for heartbreak. Try to avoid that.
But then I was still hurting.
You didn't think you was hurting. You asked me in my 20s, I was thriving. I was thriving. You couldn't tell me I was hurting. But I was. I didn't realize it for another 10 years, but I was hurting. And it took life to do a stone cold stun on my ass for me to like, whoa.
No, that definitely was me. Like I said, when I dated my ex and that whole breakup, that definitely made me take a step back and really look at what are you really doing. Like, this is not right. You do not need to be in these. You're picking the same people, the same guy.
Hey, I would say this: if you had the 20s version of me and early 30s, I'm sorry, nigga. Sorry. That's all I can say.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. That's all I can say. Man, whoo. I was all them seeds.
But no, my ex really he made that, not even him, that relationship made me really open my eyes to like slow down and really look and also realize that, hey, you may be single. Like, yeah, your kids getting older, but you may just end up being, it's not forever, but don't rush. You can't rush love. You can't rush relationships. They take time.
Hey man, we can't put the seed in the pot and expect the plant to be there the next day. Gotta water it, gotta nurture it, gotta fucking talk to it.
Yes, I talk to Lola. Lola in the background.
Right. You gotta talk to it. You gotta give it love. We forget that. All right, we forget that we gotta pour into. We do have to pour into our love. We have to pour into it, right? We have to give into it willingly. We have to nurture it, right? But we have to do it from a full place, right? You have to do it from a happy place.
Cannot be broken trying to.
Can't be broken too. I'm telling you, man, that codependency, boy, whoo, like crack. It's like crack cocaine, and that will cause you. We got a plant mom in here. I think we got a plant mom. Oh, plant mom.
I need help because poor Lola over here turning.
She over there in that window, like she over there in that window writing help to people that walk by and say like, help.
Oh, I definitely need to talk to you because I only got one.
Yeah, like, what y'all doing outside? Y'all growing out there? Your planters in your window, like.
I'm scared to repot, and her roots is coming out and everything. Poor Lola.
Oh.
So man. This was good. This was really
good. I think
YouTube and Facebook, y'all got a lot.
Do you feel like you got everything as far as, you know what I mean?
I do, but I want you as a guy, because I don't even, how do you feel? You mentioned it, ways for people to be consistent, and I mentioned it too. It comes with communication.
It definitely comes with communication. It also comes with the basic premise, and this is an old saying. All right, same thing it took to get your baby hooked.
Yep.
Same thing it's gonna take to keep them, right?
Yep.
One of the things that I used to do when I used to teach, right, is you have to establish your things day one, especially with young adults and teenagers. One of the things that you do when you come into that classroom that first day is you establish what your policies are, your rules, right? You establish these things, like in a relationship or a potential one. You establish your likes, your wants, your things that are you, not what you expect necessarily, but just who you are, what you believe. And then you consistently exhibit those behaviors on a daily basis. You exhibit those consistent ideas on a daily basis. That's the bare bones of it. Not even talking about in your actions. Just the things you say you are, who you are as a person, how you believe, how you think. You exhibit those things consistently on a daily basis. Because the first time you're not doing that, that's when the alarms go off.
Yeah.
Right? If I come into my classroom and I tell kids, I expect you guys to be on time, boom, boom, boom. The first day I'm late, I'll never hear the end of it.
Oh yeah.
Right? So you have to make sure that you are exhibit. You have to, if you talk about it, be about it. That's it. If you talk about it, be about it, and be about it every day, all day. If you're not, shut the fuck up and move the fuck on. That's it. And that's for the person that's not getting the consistency that they want. Say what you, they ain't getting what you want. We have to be scared. We can't not cut the cords. Got to cut the cords sometimes. We got to be okay with walking away.
That's true. This was definitely good.
Thank you for everybody who was listening and chiming in today. Julian, Lydia, my Steve was on there today. Thank you guys. We definitely appreciated y'all feedback. We're gonna have more of these versus conversations. They will be live. These will be bonus episodes on YouTube and Facebook Live. So these will be the only places that you can actually get in on these conversations. We'll do verses. We got a little series called Story Tales. You ready for your first story yet?
I'm gonna get some game night going on too.
I'll stay out of game night. I told y'all I don't play taboo with black people, man. I don't play games with black people, yo. Y'all too violent. Y'all choose violence. I don't choose violence.
Yeah, we did go through the whole thing of how.
Yeah, I don't do it. All right. But no, we'll have more of these conversations. So please come in. We're gonna when we post up the information, that's because we want you guys to jump on and get in this conversation with us, because it helps. Again, what we want to do here at Disaster Dating 101 by open up in our vulnerability and our dating stories and our experiences, is that we want people to have more conversations. You'll hear me say this all the time. I think us as especially black men and women, we're not having the conversations that we need to have anymore. We are constantly beefing. I'm not for that. And so I think that we need to get back to a place of understanding each other. And hopefully these conversations help us get there. What you think, Tosh?
Yes. And if you guys have any show topics, especially for the verses, if you have topics that you guys want to share, if you want to be a part of verses, please leave a message. Let us know. You can go to the IG page, Disaster Dating 101 Podcast. Leave a message, and we definitely will either discuss your topic or bring you on if you want to be on. But we want to have these topics, these conversations. We have these conversations because I want people to know. The whole point of me creating Disaster Dating is, like you said, to know that just because you had a bad relationship, just because you had a bad date, it's not over. There is some happiness. You have to learn to love yourself before you can love anybody else.
Amen.
And where can you find you, Twan?
You can find me on IG at My Shit Is Pure Comedy. And you can find me here on Disaster Dating. We listen. Also, if y'all jump in my DMs about being on the show, y'all better come with some real good, good ideas. All right. Don't just nobody want to hear about your. Listen. Also, if you come on here, yo, you gotta open up. You gotta keep it a bean. And you know, I get it. Everybody has had weird dating stories. Maybe your story is a muse for one of our conversations and might not require your actual presence. So we will take stories, not necessarily necessarily want to bring everybody on here. We can't bring everybody on here. But if you got a good enough story, we might reach out to you like, yo, the world need to hear this from you. You know what I mean? So
creating a Google Doc for, just a questionnaire.
A little questionnaire.
Just a couple of questions.
Nothing personal. Please don't put your social on there.
Please don't. I can't help you if you do. But you can follow me at Natasha Renee _ the creator. I guess I'm so used to doing the audio because I'm like, you can follow us on YouTube and Facebook, but these are our YouTube and Facebook.
These are this is it. This is it. These are our bonus episodes. These are the pluses of
Disaster Date 101 podcast. Or you can find us on Twitter at Disaster Date 101.
Hey, make sure y'all comment, like, subscribe, turn on them notifications. That's what you need to do. You gotta turn on them notifications so you can get a note when you get a little, a little boop when we do these lives. You know what I mean? Because we got them for you guys, and we want to make sure that we keep giving y'all some content that's gonna drive that conversation, like we said.
Yes, and the actual next episode will for Disaster Date 101 podcast. The regular episodes do release on Sundays at 12 a.m. and the YouTubes will go live and are available between 2:30 and 3 o'clock on Sundays.
She's so scheduled, y'all. I'd be like, look, you get you subscribe, you get a notification when it comes. Like, don't ask me. Don't ask me. I know Sundays are the day they drop. Okay. What episode y'all on? All of them. Just listen to them again.
But I don't even know what physical episode it is.
We got it. You didn't took the numbers off of them. You didn't took the numbers off of them. But just say the episode in the name. We don't even. That's fine. Whatever works.
But thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for being a part of this. I really appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, Antoine. I appreciate you, Robin, who's not here right now. But thank you guys so much, and good night.
Good night.